Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people, and we've got one for you today. Mandy Muden shot to fame last year on Britain's Got Talent, but trust me, she's been around for about 742 years doing the business. She's ever so good. How are you, Mandy?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you know what I love about you? I mean, your old school variety with a modern take on it. It's so important, that, isn't it, that you don't just become some sort of fuddy-duddy act. You've managed to sort of get the two to be relevant, variety and 2019. Congratulations.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, I think it's because I've just worked on the comedy circuit for years, and so you're just used to doing a bit of everything, really.
You literally have done everything, whether it be panto or cruises or theatres. There's not a lot you haven't done, and when you look at your website, you're everything, which is how they all used to be. You had to be an act. That's really the backbone of show business, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that it means you can just play anywhere, really. And it really does help in this business, I think, because as we know, the comedy circuit's changing dramatically. Clubs are closing, and things are changing around, aren't they?
The interesting thing is you throw away your magic, literally, don't you? You make it look nonsense, but you are a magician. Is that fundamentally what you are, a magician or a comedian?
Well, I'm sort of seeing myself being a bit of both, really. But I just think that you shouldn't really take magic that seriously. And I think that's where everybody goes wrong. They sort of they make it as if they really are, able to walk through the Great Wall of China and all this. And if you could, you'd be earning a hell of a lot more money.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be wasting your time entertaining me. You'd find other ways of being a billionaire, so you didn't have to, wouldn't you? Let's face it. You are right about that. I mean, especially Las Vegas is the best place to see these people who do a lot of waving and pouting at these pin focus and things like that. And it does just become a bit silly. I guess in 2019, YouTube has ruined and destroyed magic because we're one click away from finding out how they did it. And that's a shame, really, because as an art form, it has been destroyed by those programs that tell us how it's all done. There's no mystery left.
Yeah, I mean that is a shame, but I also think that it's with magic. It's actually in the performance. Really, it doesn't really matter how it's done. It's how you put it across. And I think, like with the Brits, particularly, all that sort of pouting and wind machines and all that, it just doesn't work. And especially with somebody like me who's a bit tubby, a bit old, it just looks a bit naff. Well, I mean, maybe I should do that.
You say that. I find you a sex symbol, deeply attractive. I mean,
I'm going to pay you money for that.
No, this is what you've got. I mean, it's interesting when you Google you, because there are two clips that come up first. The first one is with Brad back in the day when you first started, and then, of course, Britain's Got Talent. Let's go back to then. I mean, have you ever done anything other than entertain?
Yeah, I mean, well, I have. I mean, I went to college and I came out and joined a circus straight away and was a magician's assistant. And then I've had some jobs there. I've done a bit of everything, as you have to do, to make ends meet. Worked in shops and telesales and anything really. Dressed up as Father Christmas when done a bit of extra work.
You'd make a marvellous Mrs. Claus. I'm telling you. I'd come and sit on your knee. And that's what we loved, of course. When we look at those clips, there's a cheekiness about you, but it's not crossing a line. Was that always important that you didn't become sort of a female Chubby Brown?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should just have a laugh and a bit of a flirt with people, but you don't take it to the extremities.
Unless you're very lucky. Talk to me about some of the people you've worked with, because as I say, back in the day, Bradley did that beautiful thing with you, which people can find. You just put in Mandy Muden into Google. You can also see the tour dates, of course, for, let me get this right, Cunning, Stunt. Yes, that's right. That's the name of your new tour. We must be careful. Have you done any BBC local interviews where they refuse to say the name of your tour? Because it's a risky one, that, isn't it?
Well, there's a paper down in Sussex, and there's a journalist who works for all the papers in Sussex. Apparently, he said, "Oh, I can't even report on the show because of the name." And it's just like, oh, for God's sake,
Yeah, that's David Walliams had got it right in a way, that there's sort of a Tommy Cooper-esque fashion about you because of you throwing away the comedy. How do you turn that though into a full 2-hour show? Because when you begin the tour in Shrewsbury, you can't just do 8 minutes that you did on the telly, can you?
Oh, no. And I'm going to be doing a lot more. I mean, the second half will be mainly mind reading.
Oh.
With my twist. And then I'll be doing, I've been doing it for a long time. So there'll be lots of of sort of comedy and magic, but also, you know, some nice little tricks in there, and, you know, a bit of stand-up, just without magic.
You're not reading my mind now, are you, Mandy? Because I'd be locked up. You know, I don't want to be inappropriate. The tour starts on the 25th of January at Shrewsbury at the Theatre 7. Then on 8th, it really begins proper, Swansea Grand Theatre. And then through all of the big theatres, you're going to Harlow and Wickham and Swindon, East Grinstead, you're going to London, the House of Magic. Tell me about the community of magic. As I said earlier, I mean, you are heralded as a comedy magician, and that's great in a way because it gives you liberty to do exactly what you want. The Magic Circle Carlton Award for comedy and magic was yours. They gave it to you. And also one of the first women to get a major award. That's important too, isn't it? Because women in magic are mostly the hot assistant who just stands there and looks good and does very little. You never wanted to be that, did you?
No, and the thing is, when I started, there wasn't really any female role models in magic because they just literally, women weren't allowed in, and that was it. And so there was a few women around, but you just didn't ever get to see them. And you know, it was very hard to be a female magician. I mean, there's some great ones coming through now, but it was difficult when I started, and it was so archaic, the magic world. It was ridiculous. And they were saying things that they didn't want us in because we talked too much and we give the secrets away. Which is sort of nonsense, really, because most women I've got some fabulous secrets, you know, that I'll never tell, but about to some of my friends, that, you know, that women are very good at keeping secrets. Don't
tell the listeners about our 2 weeks in Tenerife in 1987, because this could get us in big bother. That's one of our secrets.
Still recovering from that. That was fabulous. What a night.
That's a week.
On the Thursday.
MandyMuden.com is the website you can go to. I mean, when I saw you on Britain's Got Talent, there's also sort of a cleverness about you, a bit like Penn and Teller when they do that wonderful switcheroo at the end. They give away the trick, but then, of course, there's a better trick that they don't give away. As you said earlier, that's important, isn't it? Giving away part of it is clever, but like with the egg trick, it's clever that you've got a cleverer trick afterwards.
Yeah, and it's always nice to just pull the rug a bit, and so people think they know where it's going, and then it goes in a completely different direction. But you know that from comedy as well. Like, that's always the best way to sort of, they think they're going one way with the gang, and then you swip them round and take them in the other direction.
Was it risky for you going on Britain's Got Talent? Because I've got a load of mates who have been asked and they say no, because they could either make fun of you and ridicule you, or they can make you a star. And it's not necessarily down to whether your act's any good, is it? It's what mood they're in.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a risk, especially, you know, when you have got a career. You really don't know which way it's going to go, and you don't know. And people keep saying to me, "Oh, it's fixed." It really isn't fixed. I mean, you know, it's what it is. If they like you, they like you, and if they don't, they don't. And that it is a bit of a sort of kamikaze type situation.
And you could tell at the beginning there was that sort of Susan Boyle moment when you walked on that they weren't quite sure. Did you lose your nerve at any point? Because you've got to fight through that, haven't you, so that you don't end up being a blithering wreck and they end up laughing at you and you walk off in tears.
Yeah, well, I mean, I must admit, when I first went on, like just before I went on, there was a bloke before me and he got buzzed completely. Right. And I just thought, oh my God, I don't fancy this. Because you don't realise how loud the buzz is going to be. Yeah. And also, you just, you know, you suddenly think, oh my God, it suddenly puts you into reality, and you think, oh God, your career goes flashing in front of you, and you think, is this about to be the biggest mistake of my life, you know?
That reminds me of that Ken Dodd gag. The act before me was so bad they were still booing when I was on last night.
And also, you know, there has been a little few moments of people a bit snobby towards me, thinking, you know, there is that snobbery about that you just, all you've done is been on this TV talent show, and which isn't the case, you know. I mean, I've been doing it for years, and so, but people think, oh yeah, you know, that's all you've done. You've just done those 8 minutes on that show, and they don't realise that was that, but you've had a whole massive run of it before.
I guess 30 years in the business doesn't equate to 8 minutes on the telly on ITV on a Saturday night primetime, does it? That's the reality.
No, you know, and the thing is that actually, you know, as you well know, you can do, we've probably played some of the worst stumps known to man over the career. You know?
Oh, I'm still playing them, love. Don't you worry about that. You want to see my diary? When they stood up for you, this was a magical moment, because to get them to like you is one thing, but to actually get Simon Cowell to stand up is incredibly rare. He does seem to genuinely like comedy and magicians, which is surprising, because you would think he's only interested in music. But actually, at heart, he does seem to like variety, and you are the core of that.
Yeah, I mean, I was really genuinely not expecting him to like me at all. I just thought I wouldn't be his cup of tea at all. So I was sort of I was waiting for a buzz and a bit of a, get off your crap. But, I was... I must admit, I didn't actually even realise he'd stood up for me, because I was so shocked by the reaction that I couldn't sort of take it all in, really, because it just all happened so fast.
Yeah. Had you got a line ready if he did buzz you, or if he did say you were crap?
Yeah, you sort of got a line ready, but then you never know what they're going to say, really.
No.
What? You know what it's like? You always have things planned in your head, and then someone says something completely different, and then sometimes things come out of your mouth that you didn't expect to come out anyway.
Yeah. And I know you're at your best when you're just sort of free-flowing and it's all just happening there and then.
Yeah, that's my favourite thing, really.
What was the process like to actually get on the stage? Does it take weeks? Are you there for hours on the day? Do they sort of frazzle you to the point where you're not on best form? Because that's another element. When you're in your own domain on your own stage, you make your own rules. Of course, with those type of programs, you've got 17,000 producers screaming at you.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, you are there all day. I mean, it's exactly what you see on the telly. You're just sitting around for ages, and also they're pulling you aside every minute to interview you or do various things or film you walking up the corridor or whatever. And so, by the time, in fact, it's just quite a relief to get on the stage, to get away from everyone, really.
Yeah, that's the easy bit.
Just do what you do.
This Christmas must have been lovely to get a big panto with Brandon Cole down south.
Yeah.
I mean, a huge show, kudos and all of that. Was that thrilling for you? Because again, to get on the telly does open doors that probably it wouldn't have done this time last year.
Yeah, because I'd auditioned for them before, and I'm just not very good in auditions, because I just need an audience now, because I've sort of learned how to, only react to what's going on. So it's to do an audition with three blokes sat in a room is very difficult, and I just couldn't pull it off. And so that was great, because I think they would never have given me a panto, and I had a lovely time. Brendan's a great laugh, and we had great fun. So it was brilliant, actually.
And what's interesting about Panto, I know he's the star and he's the big face on the poster, but the one they fall in love with always in Panto is the funny one. So you get to steal it. I mean, I know he's there to look brilliant and does those fabulous dances, but it really is you to drive the show. How hard is it doing 2 shows a day, 6 days a week for 17 weeks?
Well, actually, the run was only 3 weeks.
Don't give away the secret.
And also, it's a lot easier than what we do the rest of the time, driving from gig to gig. Actually being in one place, walking up the road to your digs, was a lot easier.
And having all that kudos magic around you with the lighting and the sound and everybody else taking responsibility, it must have been thrilling, because all you've got to worry about is you.
Yeah, and it was wonderful. I was flying in on a big mirror, and that was amazing. And yeah, it was lovely. I mean, actually, because someone's sorting your costume out, and in fact, I found it easier than doing gigs, much easier.
I do draw the line, though, at them washing your drawers. I think you got to do that yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to do that yourself.
Which one was it? Were you Snow White? I forget.
Yeah, we did Snow White, and I was the mirror.
Oh, very nice. And did you have real dwarves, or were they grown men on their knees?
There were grown men on their knees, which is how I like them.
I'll set them up. You can knock them down. Mandy Muden, thank you so much for talking. We've got this tour then going on until February 24th. You can get all the dates at mandymuden.com, starting 25th of January in Shrewsbury. Then, of course, you go Swansea via Swindon and Bromsgrove, and all the dates are there. Derby Guildhall, I'll see you there on the 21st of February, ending in Maidstone at the Hazlitt Theatre on the 24th of Feb. What's up for the rest of the year then? What are you up to? Back on the cruises?
Yeah, I've got cruises. I've got various little bits and bobs going on, and yeah, nice and busy, which is lovely. This is the busiest I've been for a long time, which I'm loving. It's
interesting, isn't it, how the cruises have become the new rock and roll. It seems to be a place where you guarantee 2,000 people in a theatre, and let's be honest, that's almost impossible to do, even if you're a megastar anywhere in the world now, it's sort of a born audience that are there to be entertained. It must be thrilling to walk out on those stages because they're beautiful, aren't they, those cruise ships?
Yeah, they're like Vegas showrooms. I mean, they're gorgeous. And as you say, you've got a full-packed audience and, you've got all the lighting and all the whistles and all the bells, and it's lovely. Absolutely great.
What about being mucky? Do you have to tone it down or do you tone it up?
Well, you do have to tone it down. I mean, I sail very close to the wind. But I think being a woman of a certain age, I can sort of get away with it because they kind of think, oh, she didn't say that, did she? So that's quite handy, really. That's when it all comes in handy, being a bit older.
I did one once and they threatened to toss me off, so I thought, right, I'm not doing that again. Mandy Muden.
They've threatened to toss you off?
Yes. I was in the middle of the Caribbean at the time. Mandy, thank you so much for your time. It's great talking to you. Good luck with the tour, and I'll see you in February. Thanks for talking.